What else y'all want to talk about?
How early do you start on tech? You've seen him for 4 years, you know Cliff backwards and forwards. How early?
Yeah, we handled this the same way we handled it would have been BYU, and last year we had I think it was before Maryland. We handle it the same way all the time. That way you give the players an idea of what to expect. I'm a big proponent letting them get away for a few days when you have an opportunity to let them get away. We're going to have to talk to the guys that we're planning on going south in the hurricane going down there. So we'll have to address that. But I always give them Friday off, Saturday off, come back Sunday night. I just think it's good for their psyche a little bit to be able to get away. You got to find a good balance for getting ahead on an opponent and not overkilling an opponent. I felt like in years past, when we just started obsessing over another opponent, you guys heard me say this in preseason camp as well, that you can overkill somebody and things can go stale. So introducing your opponent is one thing, getting some good looks, having more time to game plan, testing some things out, that's important. And then also trying to get a little bit of developmental work in as well. So we'll let some of the younger guys scrimmage and take a few more reps. Try to let the guys probably heal up a little bit. I think our overall health is pretty good, but let them get away from it. The mental health aspect of it probably is every bit as important as the physical aspect of it. And then get back to work on Sunday. We talked a lot about last Sunday, a couple days ago, we talked a lot about doing the right thing this week, but getting ready to embrace the grind for the next 8, which is not uncommon in football. So, that's where we're at.
Too soon to tell if Crawford and Fleming will be full go for Texas Tech?
It should be. Crawford is going to be in a green jersey this week and then will not be in one next week. So he's full go, and Fleming is full go right now. On that note, having a guy like Elijah Battle step up was big, was really big. So we probably had to go out recruiting this weekend for a few more junior college guys. We're on a little bit of a hot streak when it comes to that. Having Kaiser White as the defensive player of the game and Justin Crawford as the offensive player of the game, probably had to go find some more of those guys. And Elijah Battle stepping in playing well. It was good to see.
Danny, you found with those JUCOs, it's taken off and even time for them to assimilate. But those guys coming in and getting it quickly, at least well enough to be players' games, is that unusual for a JUCO kid 4 games in to be that good?
Very. It's very unusual, especially those two guys who weren't with us in the spring. We've had guys come in and midterm guys that adjust a little quicker. It's not unusual for Elijah Battle for it to not make sense until now. If you look back at Lewinsky needed that red shirt year. Karan White is playing pretty good for us, but he wasn't this guy a year ago. Kevin Shirley wasn't this guy a year ago, or his first year. Mario didn't make a play for 6 weeks. So it takes those guys time. That's why having the midterm thing is really big. But not relying on those guys to have to be full-time starters right away is critical.
Dan, this is your first road game of the year. Real road game in the Slater team stadium. There's a disparity between your records home and away. That's quite a bit. Talk a little bit about what the home field advantage is. You asked for it to be rowdy, and it was. And conversely, on why it's become so hard when you're away. Well, it becomes harder when you're away.
I thought we've won some pretty big games on the road. We've won Won the last time we were at Texas Tech. Won the last time we were at Iowa State, Oklahoma State. We won at Texas. So if you really look at the home field advantage in the Big 12, it's not as big as you think it is. I do think our crowd played a big part in what happened on Saturday. I don't want to diminish the realization that we understand as coaches. I mean, it was big in the second half. One, we finally gave them something to cheer about. But I think, especially when our defense was out there and they were loud, that may have had something to do with them having to burn some timeouts. I don't want to take anything away from what was a great atmosphere on Saturday, but there's a lot of teams winning on the road. Oklahoma won on the road last week. Baylor won on the road last week. So that's the way we're going to approach it. We don't care where we play. Our routine's the same. Going to the play over in DC was a good road trip for us. It was neutral and we had a lot of fans there, but it still felt like it was a road game. It felt foreign. So we try to do things with our routine to where it makes sense with our guys. I've got a lot of guys that when I have a team meeting, this whole front row is full of seniors that have been to Lubbock. So they're going to be able to spread the word as far as what it's like. And it's easier now than it was 4 or 5 years ago, I can assure you that.
3 of your 4 wins this year have been comebacks. Why have you been able to do that this year when you haven't in past years?
I think this team's tough. I think they play with a lot of grit. And I think they fight. They don't give up. They're passionate about what we do. I mean, we got a couple of terms that our team picked that describes this team, and it was kind of that. I mean, they're a group that likes to fight, feel like they're pretty tough, and feel like they got a lot of grit to them, to where if they get down, they're not going to panic. I think our coaching staff has done a better job this year as in years past, where you just don't hit that panic button, and you remain calm and regroup. And there's been a couple of halftimes that have been challenging. Missouri was a challenging halftime. When Skyler was in the locker room, in the training room, and Youngstown was a challenging halftime. I don't remember what BYU's was. But yeah, I mean, just going in there and having the confidence that your team is going to regroup and make good halftime adjustments and go out there and play your tail off for the next half. That's been critical. Give our coaches credit as well.
Is there some fool's gold in blowing teams out and not knowing how your guys are tested? I mean, you guys have been tested in 4 games this year.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. It's probably why BYU is going to win some games here in the next 2 months. You think our games have been tight? They've played 5 now, and it's came down to the last drive on all 5. Like, good to see those guys get a win last week. But yeah, I think there's probably something to that. When it's easy and you're blowing teams out, I mean, how's your team going to respond in a close game? I mean, that's always a question that you're not going to have answers until it happens.
When you're in conference player, just a program that you know well and that they know you, from year to year, is there a lot of game plan changes, or is it almost identical from one year to the next?
I can't remember. Just picking. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of familiarity, but here's the deal. You can say that about us in Texas Tech, but you can say it about us in Kansas State. I mean, we've been pretty much the same schemes going against each other for 5 games now. Say the same stuff about TCU, Oklahoma State. I mean, that just exists in a conference game. So, is it going to give us an advantage to be able to have 2 weeks, or is they going to be more game ready because of the speed of the game aspect of it? I don't know. Just get your best game plan together and line up and do what feel like you need to do to be able to be successful is kind of the way we approach every game.
Do you find that they make changes, that you make changes based on what you did last year, or?
There's always like some stuff at the beginning of the game that you kind of try to fool them with, but yeah, you get to a point where you are who you are. I mean, you're not going to be able to come up with a whole new offense or a whole new defense. There's always wrinkles to it that you'll be able to see early on, but then after those wrinkles are exposed, everybody pretty much just settles in and they are who they are and play well.
Dana, with both bye weeks coming the front half of the season, you think that's beneficial or not for you guys?
I think it probably benefits us. Where it's going to hurt us is December 3rd when we got to play and other teams don't. They go on the road recruiting and we can't. We get 2 bye weeks. There's other temes that don't because their second bye week is December 3rd. So advantage now, disadvantage when you don't get to go recruit that last week. Last year we're going to have to deal with it because next year with the championship game, everybody will have that off unless you're playing a 13th game of the championship game, which means everybody will have 1 bye week. That's what everybody else does. So, I don't view it as a disadvantage. We gotta use this week for some recruiting because we're not able to recruit that last week when everybody else is.
With the K-State game a little bit further in the rearview mirror, have you guys had the chance to think a little bit more about how you guys might handle the 2-kicker situation, and how do you think you might work that heading into Texas Tech?
I thought Mike did good on Saturday. Josh is not, he's rusty. So we'll see how they practice today and make decisions based on how you practice. I don't view kickers any differently than I do quarterbacks or D-linemen. I said that after the game, the same way right now. See how they practice. We'll go out there and watch them kick and looks good, and we go with the one that we feel better about.
Is there a possibility that Josh is your 45 and out guy at times, and Mike 45 and in? Or?
Mike's got more pop than Josh. We'll look at it and see where they're at here today.
Is that an everyday thing, or is that just because Josh is rusty and he's not there yet? He eventually will be.
We could talk about something else, or kickers.
Oh, there's an alarming thing.
I hate bringing kickers to the forefront on things. Just ignore them. Kickers, snappers, those guys, just ignore them. Billy Kinney had a great day. Our punt team looked great. He's doing a great job of flipping the field. Special teams wise, I think 2 years ago we gave up a punt return and lost. Last year we gave up a couple of kick returns and lost. That didn't happen this year, so good for special teams.
What was your assessment of the offensive line play after Holgorsen?
Very, very, very average. It's our worst game to date. T.O. played good, he's always gonna. Everybody else was very below average. That needs to improve. I get now, when you say something like that, why? Because Kansas State's pretty good. Why was it a low-scoring game? Because Kansas State's defense was really good. Without a doubt, the best defense we faced this year. I don't think it's even close. Those guys are good on defense. They got next-level guys. They got experienced guys. They got, when they were at their best last year, game 12. They're much better now than they were last year, game 12. So give them guys some credit for that as well. Their front's really good.
Dana, we've been hearing about David Long for a year now, starting to see him now in games. I mean, as a practice player, what were you seeing that you felt like once he got out there, he had a chance to do something?
Not as much practice, but how he was playing in games. I would guess, you can ask Gibby, I would guess he probably played 30 snaps a game. He was on all the special teams for the first 3 games, and his production was really good. So we felt like it was time to make that change. And I mean, it's not surprising to me. I watched him all last year, trying to block him on when he was on the scout team. suggested on numerous occasions to pull his red shirt and play him. So I thought he was game ready last year. He went in there and made a difference. He's doing a good job, proud of him.
Same schedule with recruiting this week?
Yeah, we'll get some coaches out of here on Thursday. I know me and Gibby will stay here Thursday, do some developmental stuff. But most of the coaches will be out recruiting Thursday, Friday, some on Saturday. You know, hitting high schools, hitting different areas, hitting junior colleges. I feel like we got some momentum in recruiting finally, to where we'll take advantage of that. You know, you can't get out there and go talk to them, but you can be visible. Talk to them on the phone and you know, text message with them, do the Twitter thing, all that good stuff. But just being visible and supporting guys that you want at games, I think is very important. How much evaluation's going on? Not just a ton. This is an evaluation period. I don't know, the NCAA is talking about revisiting it, but this is an evaluation period where I don't know how much evaluation you need to do with huddle and all that stuff. You can sit there and watch everything that they do. But go out and eyeball them is important, like I did when we went down to Mississippi last time I was out. You know, put my eyes on a couple of guys and liked them. You know, there's a little bit of that, but just supporting them probably is the biggest thing. Watching some games. Then back to work on Sunday.
Would you expect teams to start doing some special things with Gibson, with Shelton Gibson, you know, it doesn't look like yet they've really doubled up on him or anything like that at all?
Well, they have. I mean, the first couple of games, they kept their safeties back, and we, you know, to see that we've shown to where we can run the ball, to where safeties are starting to come down. Kansas State put a sixth guy in the box, and they didn't do that last year. They did this year, which makes more one-on-one stuff. So I hope they do something. I'd like to see when safeties are over the top. Makes it easier to run the ball. It's easier to scheme things up and run the ball versus good numbers than bad numbers. So I hope he can. He's a special cat now. Being able to track the ball and catch it over his shoulder. He hit that catch he made. I don't know how that didn't get called when they ripped his head off. But that's him. He can track the ball and catch the thing. Probably should have targeted him a couple of more times. And he needs to continue to work on a lot of underneath stuff. That's the thing, part of his game that he needs to continue to do. But that definitely gets people's attention and moves those safeties back, which opens up things underneath for our inside receivers and our run game.
You used Marcus Sims a little bit, Gary Jennings more snaps. Are you getting the depth there that you're wanting? I didn't think you had it earlier.
It's going to continue to get better. Gary's becoming seasoned. He's settling in. Javon had his best game. Marcus is another. Marcus is more like Shelton than anybody we got. He can really stretch the field. Still raw, still trying to figure things out. But you know, those six. Mathis is giving us good depth on the inside. Kennedy McCoy is not playing as much as I want him to. When we get into some of these games where you snap the ball 95 times instead of 70, like we had the last 2 weeks, that makes guys like him more important because he can give you more depth in the backfield, but he's versatile enough to where he can give you some receiver reps as well. So that's going to be important moving forward.
Any plans for some others moving forward?
Not at this point.
Dana, Javon, you said he had his best game. Looked like really you weren't that happy with him. I think he maybe got knocked over on a play and just for whatever reason weren't happy with him. Did you just get better in the game and maybe the response was better?
Yeah, I got mad there for a little bit in the second quarter. We busted a couple of assignments, was the biggest issue I had. Guys not where they were supposed to be. And it happened on critical downs. You're talking about third and long, fourth and long. In that second quarter, we went for it a couple of times, and we were not very good on critical downs, and it was because guys weren't in the right spots. So yeah, that's going to upset me. But he handled it well.
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, those receivers will tell you. I mean, I love those guys and spent a lot of time with them, so they're the ones that are going to get the majority of the rap. It's just the way it is. They know it, but they all responded well. Nikhil's a great leader. I can say about anything I want to him. He corrals those guys, especially the young ones. And Shelton's the same way. And Javon is still relatively young, learning a new position. I've got to keep that in mind a little bit. But he responded and had his best game. So he'll keep getting better at that inside spot.
What's the mood around the team now that you guys cracked the top 25?
Don't care. It's good for the program. Notoriety. It's good in recruiting, that sort of thing. But this group don't care. I mean, that's not our goal.
Okay, thanks, Coach.